Alright, YouTube, it's time for another video. Just driving around. Here's a Walmart. Um, but this video is going to be mostly about how Donald Trump is, at this point in your life, probably about 70% of what your problems are. The other 30% is just your internet addiction. And to be fair, your internet addiction is what caused Trump probably more than anything else. But anybody who thinks that this guy is governing well and making your life better and we're winning, and I mean, the amount of money that is being funneled to a small percentage of people, that's, less than 1% really, because of Trump and his actions, while making all of our lives way more difficult. At some point, you just have to own up to it. Now, I preferred Kamala in 2024. I think I'm looking smarter. She would have been the better candidate. But basically, Donald Trump got a lot of younger men on his side because he viewed it as, he kind of was basically, acting like this is going to make you're going to be viewed as this masculine entity, and you're going to have your masculinity given back to you like somebody took it from you or some stupid shit. And the only person who can give it back to you is a 80-year-old dude who is soiling himself and has dementia as bad, honestly worse than Biden, really. I think Donald Trump is more mentally ill than Biden was at the end of his time. And Biden, obviously after his first debate, stepped out of the election, or out of the candidacy. But we're at the point now where, the only victory Trump had this first year was gas prices were low. They were 2 something a gallon. And now for the past month and a half, we're looking at, in my area, about $4.50 $4.50 a gallon, anywhere between there, depending on how close you are to highly more, the further out in the suburbs I drive, it is a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about the economic slowdown that all this causes is insane. I mean, we're talking about artificial COVID-like restrictions where it's like, hey, don't drive to work today. This is all, I'm not going to say, I don't know if I'd call it a conspiracy. It's all just an excuse to basically just purge the planet of poorer and lower income people and force them to have no fun and no enjoyment out of their life, because literally you go out to eat now, and even a meal at a semi-nice restaurant, like we'll talk about, like I sometimes would go to Outback Steakhouse or Longhorn Steakhouse or something like those, national chain sit-down restaurants, and you used to be able to get your entire meal per person maybe about, I don't know, maybe about $22. Now it's like $34, $35 per person. And if you get an alcoholic beverage, it's like a guaranteed 40. I mean, we're at the point now where, I sometimes eat at a local Mexican restaurant, and they have, for a Taco Tuesday, and they'll have I'll usually get like 2 or 3 shrimp tacos, and they're not, they're pretty cheap. They're about $3 a taco. But if I want any alcoholic beverage, if I want a frozen marg or a Dos Equis or whatever, we're talking it's at the minimum you're going to be spending, if you get a beer, maybe 20 something bucks. If you get like a mixed drink, a marg or whatever, 30 fucking dollars for 3 tacos and a margarita. So we're at the point now where if you go out, you basically are guaranteed to spend $50. And that, if you're going out with friends, that is. Now, if you go out to eat, yeah, I mean, I still go to like McDonald's and shit, and McDonald's ain't cheap anymore, but you can get 2 double cheeseburgers for like $5 or something, which isn't terrible, I guess. But I don't even go there much anymore. And that's the entire economy, like, again, people always say Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. Your entire life is a Ponzi scheme by definition, by the same definition, okay? Your money, your Bitcoin, you think you're this Bitcoin investing genius because maybe you got lucky a little bit 10 years ago. Look, if everyone woke up tomorrow and was just like, Bitcoin's fucking stupid, man, fuck this shit. Nobody would, it would, the value, the Bitcoin's value would plummet. It only is valued based on what people who value it are willing to pay for it. And I mean, yes, Social Security operates the same way because it's like it requires young people to go out and exist and and have dreams and goals and ideas, so that way you can tax some of it to give to the elderly. But the other thing though is the stock market operates the same way. I mean, elderly people sell their shares for income, whether it's an ETF income ETF fund, or if it's an individual equity. And if you have to sell more shares to get the same amount of money as last time, because you have more sellers than buyers, then the stock will go down by definition. If you have more sellers than buyers, the stock will decrease. So, everything's a Ponzi scheme, not just Social Security. People are overly blaming Social Security. People are overly blaming that shit. Just because younger people, we don't see it. We don't expect to see it for it will be around, and when provided we keep it funded. But basically we don't see it now, so we get pissed off. Is basically what's happening. And so the same thing operates though with the stock market, 401ks, your stupid Bitcoin, even your homes. Home prices will only go down if fewer and fewer people give up on the dream. So I do think about 70% of your problems now is just the amount of funneling of wealth to the top that's holding you back from being able to pursue something. Now, the other 30% is, what do you do if you have, the luxury to still function in today's society? If you're just sitting on your ass consuming internet slop all day, well, you're actually part of the problem too. Have we gotten to the point where life is just too easy? We just sit on our ass waiting for the next, movie to download, or, video game to play on Steam. Is this the future of humanity? I don't know. I hope not. But it does seem like people don't really go out and do much anymore. And also people are way less interested in meeting new people and trying new things. So the entire world is gonna start fucking going to shit. It already has. And a large chunk of this is just a combination of issues that have been going on for 20 years with social media and internet addiction, really causing issues in everything I can think of. The dating game has been fucked up by social media and the internet. I would argue some of my favorite hobbies, like, I actually think video games have been pretty shitty since like the late 2000s, but people seem to not understand. Like, they love, like, 2007 to 2011 type shit, and I'm like, well, that's kind of when the problem started. This terminally online, everything has to be downloaded. Nothing's really completed anymore. Early access ruins the novelty of games. Everything that is AAA games are fewer and farther between. It seems like when the PS2 and PS1 era, you would get, 5 games a year, I would argue, were like must buys at the minute. And then you had another 5 or so games that were like, yeah, I'm going to buy that because I like that genre. Dude, I bought a PS5, and it is, I should sell it now because I guess the prices are going up. The PS5 has been a worthless gaming console. I thought the PS4 was boring. The PS5 is even worse. There's just nothing on this. Everything's on, everything else is on Steam. Maybe not on release. Maybe you have to wait longer. Like, I played that Final Fantasy VII remake, or Rebirth, I guess. And, I could have just waited a year to play it on Steam or whatever. I should have just done that. But yeah, the PS5 has been an absolute waste of my money. And so gaming has been ruined in the social media age because, everything's this online game that I don't want to play online games all the time. I'd like to have a concrete story to play. And I don't want some third-person shooter action game either. It's like we get these things all the fucking time. Steam is, there are some, fortunately, I still have some good JRPGs I could play on Steam, and also the Switch. I will say the Nintendo Switch was a huge upgrade from both the Wii and the Wii U, which no one even played the Wii U, but anyway, I'm getting way off topic. This is going to be a random rant video, I guess, more so than anything else. But yeah, social media has just ruined everything. It's ruined hobbies. It's ruined things like collecting. I mean, more and more people talk about how like Pokemon cards are basically it's like so destructive just to get a pack of Pokemon cards for, okay, maybe you're in your 30s and you still like Pokemon, or maybe you have a kid and the kid wants the stupid pack of cards. But, you're talking about like grown-ass adults who just want to buy them in massive amounts of bulk and then hoard and scalp. I mean, this is all because of social media, really. Um, I can't think of one hobby that social media hasn't ruined. So 30% of the problem, I maintain the 70 or so percent, it is Trump's fault. Donald Trump has destroyed supply chains. He's destroyed our relationship with other, people who have invested a lot into our country and European nations and Asian countries. So yeah, I mean, Donald Trump, like anybody who thinks that this is good is absolutely out of their mind. And I hope I hate to say this, but I hope markets keep going down, because it seems like the only way America seems to start hating a president as stupid as Trump is if the stock market and their 401ks go down, which, the only, you got to make sure though that, when you elect somebody to take over, that you give them the ample time and an opportunity to succeed, because I'm so sick and tired of people thinking Republican economic policy helps the working class. And the last thing I will say is the amount of people, especially younger people I see at my gym, I'm about to go work out, the amount of younger people I see who I think are only pro-Trump because either A, they want to say something like, you know, the word retarded on Twitter. They want to say, retard and offensive language like that, and they view Trump as cool for saying stuff like that. Or B, they're just mad at the world that they're not getting laid. And again, I say, it's like every dude on this planet wishes women were hornier, It's like they're just, and I have sympathy for the men who can't find, as a guy who can't find a girlfriend. I'm not as bitter as them, but I do think women, I wish they were a little bit more interested in dating. But we really need to fix, we really need to fix how much, we really need to destroy social media to really get these problems fixed. And again, YouTube is part of the problem. I think it's not quite as parasocial, although it can be. But I really think the biggest issues are streaming, live streaming, and then also Instagram. Facebook's dead, so I don't really think that's a big problem. But mostly I think it's just Instagram photos of Instagram, OnlyFans, YouTube and Twitch stream live. These things that just create uneven relationships with people that just don't lead to anything long term or fucking stable or fucking fulfilling. Dating apps have also made men and women hate each other, because I think men are on those apps, and when I was using them way back when, I definitely had kind of negative responses, and it definitely hurt my self-esteem. And then of course I think a lot of women use them, and they get, the women when they swipe right, they match with a lot of dudes, and those dudes will frequently become very perverted very quickly, which leads them to start hating men. And to be fair, it's a small percentage of men. It's also, maybe women need to, I do think that women don't swipe right enough. It does seem like they only swipe right, the data says 2% of the time, while us dudes swipe right 40 to 60%, depending on the app. So I do think, again, I think women need to maybe open up a little bit more on what they are willing to at least first, meet on an app with. I mean, we're talking about a fucking app. Not even real, like, IRL shit, you know? So, you know, there are some changes women probably do need to make. I know that's, you're not allowed to say that, but I think there are. But, in general, man, I really just think that, like, it starts with people needing to, like, reclaim some form of, even if you have to fake it, fake optimism for their existence, and this collective cultural nihilism that I see everywhere I fucking go. And I don't want to take part of it. I mean, I try to be extremely pleasant, and I'm always excited. I mean, I'm not always in the mood to meet new people, but I try very hard to be most of the time in the mood to meet new people and have fun and try something new to some degree. But man, the amount of people who are just going through the motions of their lives and really just kind of depressed. And I don't even know if they want to get out of that rut that they're in. So yeah, Donald Trump has severed a lot of important relationships and has really just made lives things more expensive for working class. There has been nothing he has now done with the past month and a half of gas hikes and all that other shit, or 2 months. I would say there is nothing he has done policy-wise that has helped out working people. Nothing. Your life has been now more difficult in every single way. And even the things that Biden did well, like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CHIPS Act, these things, like, these aren't enough. They weren't enough to make but to make most Americans' lives better. But even those things are now gone. I mean, it's crazy how people think Republican economic policy that has only benefited the rich for the past 50 fucking years, to think that Donald Trump would be any different. Just my thoughts, and I'm out.